You are listening to Mushing on First Paw Media. Visit our website at mushing.com.
Hello and welcome, everybody. This is Robert, and you're listening to the 2025 coverage of the Iditarod here on the Burled Arch podcast. I am joined tonight by my co-host, Michelle. And remember, this podcast is made possible by our patrons over on patreon.com/firstpawmedia and our Mushing Plus subscribers at mushing.com/mushing plus. You are listening to the longest and most popular Iditarod podcast in the land, according to the statistics. Michelle, how's it going today?
It's going great, Robert. I mean, we did start off the day with some rain, and apparently we reached 45 degrees today in Willow. Seems to me that the decision to make the restart happen in Fairbanks instead of today here in Willow might have turned out to be one of the better decisions.
Of course it is. And it is a travel day for everybody. Most people, fans and mushers included, are making their way up to Fairbanks. As we mentioned last night, a lot of the Fairbanks Two Rivers-based mushers get the chance to spend the last couple of nights in their own beds before hitting the trail. And everybody else, probably 2/3 of the field or so, had to scramble like a lot of us and get a hotel room or a host family in order to have a place to stay. I had told you guys last night I wasn't quite sure if I was going to make the drive up to Fairbanks. I made a good decision because there is something going on with our camera. Yesterday, we spent a good amount of time taking pictures of all of the mushers on the ceremonial start. I get back today and open up the memory card on the camera, and my goodness, what a mess there are. And I did a little bit of talking with some photography friends of mine today, and even tried to schedule a tutorial to try to figure out what the heck am I doing wrong with this fancy equipment. So I guess that is just another reason why we are podcasters. So Michelle, here we are sitting together on the eve of the restart. There is a buzz in the air, a lot of talking, a lot of predictions are coming out. A lot of people are picking their top five, their eventual winner. And I think the overwhelming choice, at least from a fan's perspective, is Jesse Holmes or Nick Petit. What do you think about that?
Well, they were both in my top five in no particular order. So, I mean, it seems to be that this year could be either of them. I, would love to see a photo finish, and those two might make that happen.
On another front, I saw on Facebook today, Cale Casey. If you don't know who he is synonymous in particular with covering live events like the Iditarod qualifiers early in the year, and especially the Fur Championship in late February. He was over visiting Ramey Smith's dog yard today, and it looks like they are loading up the Burled Arch as we speak today. He took a little bit of video on it by live, and that is an impressive piece of work. I know you spent quite a bit of time with Ramey over the last couple of weeks, and we're writing a really cool story about that in our upcoming issue of Mushing. We have a whole bunch of content, videos and reels and podcasts and all sorts of stuff. But it's going to be a special time because Rob Urbach, the CEO of Iditarod, said not only is this a celebration of Iditarod, but it's also the 100th anniversary of the 1925 Serum run, and they wanted to make sure that that arch gets there in time for this celebration. And I say that for a couple of reasons, because out on the Iditarod interwebs, a lot of people are very one-sided or the other when we combine the Serum run and the Iditarod. But Rob Urbach, he was adamant at the media briefing on Wednesday, that they fully intend to pay homage to the Serum run. So can you give us a brief glimpse of what this arch is going to look like, in particular, some of the little things that they're doing at the top of the arch? And I know that Ramey's daughter had a hand in some of the painting of those items. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, actually I can. He has taken the time to carve in some additional pieces that were not on the former arches. And I think that that's great. It gives Ramey and Brian Mills an opportunity to put their own little touches on this arch. And if you aren't aware, Brian Mills is the gentleman who was so gracious and offered up his shop to dry this behemoth of a log. And he also assisted in a lot of the scribing, if you will, of these items that are being carved into the arch. There's a dog sled team. There's a couple of other items on there, as well as the Sergeant of Arms, I guess you could call it, of the Iditarod. The logo for the Iditarod Sled Dog Trail is front and center. And yes, Ramey's young daughter did get to assist in painting that. And I think that that is really what our story that I'm writing is going to capture for you guys. Just the sheer community of what this arch represents. It really does go beyond being something that dog mushers travel underneath in the spring of every year since 1973. So I hope that you do look for that article when it comes out because it's going to be pretty special.
Yep, so that will be out in our 200th issue. We're tabulating all sorts of very cool stories about that. I'm looking forward to that. He is also trying to, I guess it has to be done by now, trying to capture all of the lead dogs from all of the former champions of the race. And he wanted to carve that into one of the uprights. Is that right?
He wasn't sure the last time I spoke with him. We were joking around saying that we needed to create some kind of a Stanley Cup of things, and we were both laughing about that. So he wasn't sure where he was going to put them, but definitely the first ones are supposedly going somewhere on the arch. We will find out more later, I'm sure, when you capture it in Nome, and probably do a final interview with Ramey there on my behalf, since I won't be able to travel this year to Nome. And I'm a little bit sad about that because I did want to see this all the way through. But yeah, it's just really going to be special.
I'm looking forward to it. And remember, guys, this is the third Burled Arch. It seems that they're lasting about 25 years apiece, since this is the 53rd running of Iditarod, and
this one is much larger,
and hopefully much sturdier. But I did read online, I think it may have been on Iditarod.com, that one of the main reasons why they keep having to replace it is for its history, it sat out in the elements, and the sea air gets into it and gets underneath the epoxy or whatever they're using to try to preserve it, and that just sort of eats away at this log, and they do their best to preserve it, but that's what's happening. If you guys
Ramey's got an idea about that I'll save for another time, but he's got a way that he's going to fix that.
And
if
you guys did get a chance to see over on our Mushing Facebook page just a week or so ago, we posted some pictures of when the second arch, no, actually that would have been the first arch, when the first arch fell in the early 80s, I guess it was. And we were looking through our archives of Team and Trail stuff, and we found those old pictures and a piece of the original Burled Arch that we have right here in our possession. Maybe that's a cool giveaway. Maybe we could do something like that, give that away to one of our fans. Maybe we'll come up with a quick contest during the Iditarod coverage. So that
No, Robert, I think that would make a fabulous silent auction item.
It could, yeah. So we'll think about that in the next day or so, and we will let you know. So on today's schedule, we're going to talk a little bit about Fairbanks. We're going to talk about some of the talks that we had with the mushers at the banquet, at the ceremonial start, and just sort of milling around. And then we're going to do our musher profile and then talk about what is tomorrow, because tomorrow is race day. I am looking forward to it. So let's talk a little bit about Fairbanks, Alaska. This is the third time that the race has ran up there. I believe the last time was in 2017. Then we did a 2015 and I think 2004, if memory holds there.
That's correct. This is actually the fourth time.
Yeah. So this is the not the first running of Fairbanks. It is much warmer than it has been in the last couple of the Iditarod starts. I saw somebody posting that it was like negatives. I don't know if it was -20 or -30 that I read about, but it sure is going to be balmy in the first few days of the race. But it's going to take place right on the Chena River at Pike's Waterfront Lodge. It's sort of the place to be for the Iditarod restart when it's up there. They open up the hotel, and just think about how the lakefront / Millennium used to be for the Iditarod down here in Anchorage. It's a pretty cool spot. Not a lot of places to really catch a really good view because you're down there on the river, and the river is not very wide at that spot. And the banks on both sides are a little steep, so you might have to work your way down a little bit to get a really good view. It's not like Willow Lake, where it's a huge expanse and then it goes, I don't know how far across, a half a mile or something like that, but they're going to do their best up there. Rob Urbach and Mark Nordman were really excited that Fairbanks was doing whatever they could to open up their doors to Iditarod, literally at the drop of a hat in just a week's time or so. They had to get all this together and really rock and roll. So they're going to go on down the river there at 11 a.m. That's not too much the heat of the day, but it's also not the late afternoon like we usually expect for the restart. And then they will head on their way to Nenana, which is the first checkpoint. And if you are a Serum Run historian, you know that in Nenana is the spot where Wild Bill Shannon picked up the life-saving serum on its way to Nome in 1925. And I saw a post today that kind of made me chuckle a little bit. One of my musher friends said somebody was talking about the dogs and, you know, God bless Togo and Balto and all of that. And he said on his Facebook post, God bless the dog, yes, but how come the people that made the serum never get any credit? And I thought, that's a pretty cool interpretation of that. Yes, I believe that the race and, of course, the Serum Run is not possible without the dogs, but we often leave people without any credit. And I think that that particular event in U.S. history would not have been possible if it wasn't for the scientist that took part in developing that serum for the diphtheria epidemic that was going on. Michelle, you had something to say on that?
Aren't they carrying some serum to Nome? I thought that's what I heard Rob Urbach say during the banquet.
I do not know that, but I do know our friend Jonathan Hayes did the Togo expedition just a couple of weeks ago. It took him about 3 weeks to take that trek. He and a team of Sepala Siberians that are descended all the way back to Togo did that run across the state of Alaska and really spent time in the villages and did all sorts of stuff to really keep this alive. And I think that he did a really cool job with that. And I'm glad he was able to do that and really pay respect to the dogs. I thought that was pretty cool. Do you have something else, Michelle?
I do, Robert. So to help your musher friend out just a little bit, we're going to go ahead and give credit to those that developed the diphtheria antitoxin in 1890. They are Kitasato and von Behring out of Germany. So you guys have to bear with me. I really am terrible at names, but Shibar Saburo Kitasato and Emil von Behring are the ones that discovered diphtherium and developed the antitoxins actually by bleeding horses.
Very cool. And of course, that saved the children in Nome. And I am a firm fan that believes that the...
but wait, I need to go further.
Oh, hold on.
So in 1923, the veterinarian Gaston Ramon discovered that the diphtheria toxoid, which is a molecule that neutralizes the toxin produced by the diphtheria bacteria. So it was an ongoing type of discovery, but it basically started because of Behring.
There you go. So history in the making, way back in the late 1800s, that somehow included a barrage of sled dogs in 1925, 100 years ago this year. So that is Fairbanks. That is the Serum Run connection. And I keep saying that because a heck of a lot of this trail this year will run pretty close to the original Serum Run route, in particular to Caltag. Then they're going to hang that left turn and do the loop and then back up to the Iditarod Trail, which again is a lot of the original Serum Run trail. So let's talk a little bit about some folks that we talked to at the ceremonial start. In particular, we're going to do a soundbite from an interview you did with Mike Parker. Mike Parker is a rookie running out of Jim Lanier's kennel. They are known as the Northern Whites. Jim Lanier holds the distinction of running the Iditarod in every decade from the 1970s to, I believe, the 2010s. He ran in Iditarod. So they are continuing that legacy of dogs with the Northern Whites. And Mike and his crew are hitting the trail hot and heavy, as they say. And what was cool about Mike was when he did his little sizzle reel video for the ceremonial start, he had his kids introduce him on the video. Can you tell us a little bit about that? And then the surprise at the end with the sled bag.
Mike was introduced by one of his children, and she was super cute, said, "My dad's going to run Iditarod." And then Mike goes along and tells us all about him and the Northern Whites. And then we are surprised as she pops up out of the sled bag and exclaims again that her dad is running Iditarod.
Super cute. What a cool way. It was definitely the evening for the kids. I know Mike and, of course, Matt Failer, and I believe there was even another one that came up with their kid during the ceremonial start. So definitely.
Well, Matt had his kid with him for the better part of a couple of days.
Yep.
Because even at the ceremonial start, he had his baby strapped to him and the bib on the outside of the kid face forward, getting to be part of that ceremonial start.
Yeah, so back to Mike Parker. I've known Mike for several years now. He's been talking about doing Iditarod for a while. He and I serve on the board of the Chugiak Dog Mushers Association, which is a dog mushing club right outside of Anchorage on some of the coolest trails, if not in Alaska, within the world. And I say that because when we interviewed people all over the world on a Sprint mushing-centric podcast, they all loved those trails in Chugiak. And I say that because Mike used those trails primarily to do his training for Iditarod up till this point this year when there was very little snow. When we were talking at the last meeting just a couple of weeks ago before the Iditarod start, and he said that he, like many other mushers, was having to go up to Eureka, which is, I don't know, maybe a couple of hours away from Anchorage or so, one of the very few places that had decent snow. And he was telling me just the astronomical costs that it was taking to go up there and spend a couple of days at a time to run his dogs. They have very few rooms up there. It's just a little teeny lodge. And he was up there really having to pay for those trail miles. And that is pretty expected, especially this year So I hope Mike does well, and we are going to pop that soundbite in right here.
Hey guys, I'm here with Mike Parker. And Mike, I need to know, why do you Iditarod?
Because I decided I wanted to Iditarod when I was a small child, and now I'm finally here to do it.
Are you after more than that belt buckle?
I'm just after the experience and, yeah, also the belt buckle.
Are you excited to go under the new Burled Arch?
That's really cool. That it's a brand new arch that will kind of be the first group to go through it. So, yeah, very excited.
So I have been actually able to see it and touch it. It is so cool. And you guys are going to be in awe at the size. Ramey and Travis found this arch down in Seward, and it is absolutely huge. So I'm excited for you guys to go under it. What do you think it's going to mean to you and your dogs to be able to do that?
I think it just means everything to me. Like I said, I wanted to do this since I was a kid. I've mushed dogs for about 10 winters, and always with the goal in mind that one day I would get to do the Iditarod. So yeah, I think it's just going to be a lot of emotion, a lot of excitement when I finally get there.
All right, I hear the trail is kind of in between fast and possibly not because of the higher temperatures that we're dealing with. Do you think you're going to be able to get down the trail without any issues?
Yeah, we'll adjust to whatever the trail is, whatever the temperature is, and we'll just figure out a way to keep going.
That's the power of those South Central dogs, isn't it?
Exactly.
Exactly. Well, good luck to you, Mike. We hope that you do well.
Thank you.
So that was Mike Parker at the meet and greet at the Musher's Banquet here on Thursday. You can find out more about him at sleddogparker.com. He's pretty active on Instagram. I'm sure, obviously, he will be offline for the next couple of weeks, but definitely check that out. And remember, guys, we're doing these sound bites with a lot of background noise, so we apologize for some of the audio there. So, Michelle, we're getting ready to start tomorrow with, before I forget, Mike Parker is number 11 on the list, and he is one of those 11 rookies that is running the race this year. So, Michelle, we're getting ready to head out on the race tomorrow. What do you think? I think the fans are abuzz. What are you hearing?
I think that everybody is getting excited. I think that there was a lot of skepticism about the race being moved. I think that there is still a little bit of pushback, if you will, from that decision, especially when we're seeing posts out there from past Iditarod mushers. And when I say past Iditarod mushers, I'm talking about mushers that ran in the late 70s, 80s, and 90s, talking about how low snow years have happened, and we ran over 100 miles without snow and, without the fancy gear and so on and so forth. And you know what I got to say about that? I got to say every Iditarod is different, and every Iditarod is also different for every musher. It is your race to run. It is never the same. While we like to compare this race to NASCAR, it is nothing like NASCAR. You do not have a set track. You're not just going around and making 4 left turns for hours. There are a lot of different things that can happen out there. Your dog team is not like anyone else's. You as an athlete are not like anyone else. And how you handle the trail and your rests and your go times are going to be different from everyone else's.
So let's switch gears a little bit. I want to talk a little bit about somebody that is also very excited to run in his rookie run. His name is Daniel Klein. He is running a team from Ryan Reddington's crew. He is anticipating having a very conservative race, just taking it easy. He, like Mike, and all of those rookies are aiming for a successful finish and that elusive belt buckle. And I spent just a couple of minutes with him as we were making our rounds with the mushers, and he was busy gluing on a little patch onto his race sled bag of one of his grandchildren. And I walked up to him and I said, "Hey, Daniel, I'm Robert from Mushing Magazine." And he recognized my name, and we chatted for just a second. And he was putting on that patch of his grandchildren. It was kind of a cartoonish type drawing of each one of his grandkids. He had 2 or 3 of them sewn on, and he was busily trying to glue on the third patch of one of his grandkids. And I said, "So, Daniel, do you think that that's going to hang on throughout the race?" And he says, "I don't think it's going to make it past the ceremonial start, but she'll get a kick out of the pictures when I show it to her." So I thought that was pretty cool. I wanted to bring it out because often fans don't see these little behind-the-scenes moments of this race. They're so focused on the race itself, but it truly is those little stories that make this race so cool, isn't it?
Absolutely, Robert. And that is a great story that you just shared. You know, I thought about making Daniel the Musher profile this evening, but I went a different route. But I'm glad that you got to share that little tidbit that he was doing something very special to him and his grandkids.
So here we are, Michelle. It is time for the Musher profile of the evening. This is night 2. If you recall, last night was Justin Olness from Rerun Kennel. I was excited to hear what he is up to tonight. Who do we have?
We have Samantha Lalonde. She likes to go by Sam, and I have it on a good report that she also goes by Lala. She is running for Dallas CV. She's handled for them for a little while now, but she's got an interesting background. She is an outdoor recreation and management careered person. She got her start up there in Northwestern Michigan University. And I just got to say, she knew exactly what she wanted to do from the get. She got involved with dog mushing up when she volunteered for the UP 200 up there in Michigan. And then it just kind of went from there. She also has handled for another kennel up in Two Rivers, Alaska. But right now, she's pretty affiliated with CV's Iditarod right outside of Talkeetna, where I've been told that some of her favorite things are coffee and ice cream. But she's got a pretty good following on Instagram. You guys should go check her out over there. And I think that Sam is going to go a long ways in this race. She was having a great time at the ceremonial start. She had a lot of people trying to get with her during the banquet, which made it difficult for me to make my way over to her. So she's got already a pretty big following. Robert, do you know anything about Sam?
I just remember that post from Dallas's kennel that introduced her almost a year ago, I guess it was. And they've been planning on this for a while now, and I'm looking forward to following her for one very cool reason. I remember hearing about this at the banquet. One of her primary sponsors is Domino's Pizza, and I thought that was such a cool sponsorship, way out of left field. I'm a pizza nut. I have eaten a slice of pizza in all 50 states and several countries, so that really perked up my eye, and I just wonder if it was an in-kind sponsorship. And for folks that are not familiar with sponsorships of teams, typically you have 2 or 3 different types. You have either a monetary sponsorship where they're providing funds for you to do something, an in-kind sponsorship where they are providing materials or items for you to use on the trail, or a partnership, kind of like an affiliate, where you are offering some type of product or service in terms of them offering promotion for you. So I wonder if this is an in-kind sponsorship, and I wonder if all of her trail meals will be slices of Domino's Pizza. So my shout out to you guys tonight on social media is, first off, do you like Domino's Pizza or pizza in general? And what is your favorite topping on pizza? And I think that Domino's is going to give that Peace on Earth pizza place in Unicolete a run for their money if they are a title sponsor for one of these up-and-coming rookies, especially running one of these speedy Dallas CV teams. It could change the whole storyline with the last third of the race if Samantha, or Lala, as you said she likes to be called, just blows by Peace on Earth, doesn't pick up the free pizzas because she is stuffed on Domino's Pizza. What do you think, Michelle?
You know, Domino's Pizza, they have other offerings, Robert. They've got some of those pasta bakes and chicken wings and other things. I'm not sure she's just solely surviving on pizza.
Well, you know, we do that little thing with Chaser and Dream, the little Lego guys that we carry around. And that sort of pays homage to the flat Stanleys that have been carried on several Iditarods by some of the mushers. Typically, they're given to the mushers by some of the school kids that are being that are following each musher down the trail. But I wonder if she has one of the Noid figurines in her sled bag, because that is something.
You better not. You guys have to understand something. He just pulled out something really old. You got to be an 80s kid to know what the Noid was.
Well, I tell you what, that may be her superpower. I know we talked about Bailey Vitello has the force of his mullet, but if she has the Noid in her sled bag, you best avoid Samantha on the trail, because it could turn into something pretty epic if we have Domino's Pizza and the Noid traveling down the trail with Samantha on the Iditarod. So all joking aside, I am so happy for these rookies. And remember, I've said this every single time. I have no idea who Michelle is going to talk about on the Musher profile of the evening. And I do my best to find some nugget that I can add to this, so it's just not one-sided commentary. So what do you guys think? Tell us about the pizza in the comments, or you can leave us a voicemail by calling 303-578-9881. That is 303-578-9881. Or
I want Domino's to bring the Noid back for next year's Super Bowl commercial.
There you go. Or you can leave us a message on Facebook, and we will be sure to answer those questions on the air. So what's happening tomorrow? As we said, it is the restart. That is when the race starts for real. It is a 24-hour event, so if you do not have your subscription to the Iditarod Insider, I would encourage you guys to do that, or at least subscribe to our podcast. And remember, you can get all of the features of Mushing Plus by going through Patreon or mushing.com/Mushing Plus. And I have on pretty good authority that there is going to be something very special happening on our podcast on Tuesday. And I'm going to leave it with that. Michelle, this is something we've been working on most of the day. I'm pretty excited about it if it comes through, aren't you?
I sure am, and I'm so glad that we are thinking outside the box a little bit this year.
There you go. So you guys have to stay tuned. Make sure you hit that subscribe button wherever you get your podcast. And otherwise, we will see you guys next time. Goodbye.
Are you a fan of the great outdoors? Do you enjoy the thrill of speed and adventure? Then listen up. Introducing Mushing, your ultimate guide to the exciting world of dog-powered sports and mushing. Whether you're a seasoned musher or just starting out, Mushing has got you covered. Get ready to immerse yourself in captivating stories of incredible sled dog races, expert training tips from seasoned professionals, and gear reviews to help you make the right choices for your team. From the breathtaking landscapes of Alaska to the snowy trails of Scandinavia, Mushing takes you on a thrilling journey through the world of dog-powered sports. Don't miss out on the latest issue, packed with exclusive interviews with top mushers, in-depth articles on sled dog nutrition, and stunning photography that will transport you to the heart of the action. So whether you're dreaming of competing in the Iditarod or simply want to learn more about this incredible sport, Mushing is your go-to resource. Subscribe now and get ready to unleash your passion for mushing. Visit our website at mushing.com or find us on your favorite podcast platform. Mushing, where the spirit of adventure meets the power of the pack.